Cinnamoroll, or Cinnamoroll. I always get it mixed up. Fluffy Big Adventure. This is like a late 2005 GBA game that was featuring the Sanrio character. It basically is a white dog that kind of looks like a bunny to me, but it is a dog. And in getting this game for the Game Boy Advance, you know, it is, you know, Hello Kitty in general is like a Sanrio in general as well is like a kid's franchise, right? I know a lot of adults like, you know, appreciate the style, and I appreciate the style and all that stuff, but generally it's aimed towards, you know, kids. And so I was kind of expecting this game in particular, especially in 2005, to be kind of like a very slow and generic like 2D platformer for the Game Boy Advance. But it's actually not really that. It's just really cool like movement-based game instead. That feels very like speedrun friendly in some weird ways, which I think is fun. But basically, like Cinnamoroll, he basically moves around the screen freely. He can fly in all 4 directions, and you just use the D-pad to move him around. And the main goal is to basically just fly to the end of the level. So there's like a little pad at the end of the level. There's some like teleports and stuff in the way that will get in your way, but most of the time it is basically a straight shot to the end of the level. And if you want to just go finish the level, super simple, easy to do. You just fly over there, you do it, the level's done. And most of the levels aren't like these big expanses or anything like that. They're horizontal or vertical, so they're pretty much like a, you know, one linear scrolling adventure thing that you're going on, I guess. But there's kind of 2 key elements of this game that I think is really cool, and that is the collectible aspect of the game, and also the movement. Cinnamoroll has like a handful of different ways you can move around the screen beyond just flying. He has like a butt stomp, a tackle, a side roll. I never got really like used to the side roll, but he like will drop down to the ground and roll around. And then he also has like this cute little helicopter spin that goes upwards. And so when he uses those, it will stun enemies if you run into. So you know, if you're like cornered by an enemy, it can help you get out of that corner kind of thing. But more importantly, these movements are a little bit more faster than flying, so they can help you get around the level faster. And this is important because on top of like, you know, just finishing the level by going to the very end of it, there's a score-based system. And how that score-based system works, it seems to be some combination of time, so actually getting to the level at a certain pace, and then also the food you collect, it tracks. And there's about like maybe like 30 pieces of food in each stage kind of thing. But what you have to do is not just go and collect every piece of food. You have to combo them together by using a few different things, or 2 different things really. One is you can combo the food that's actually on the plate. So if you see like 2 pieces of cheesecake, you can go and eat those 2 pieces of cheesecake back to back, and that will combo the food, and so you get extra points. And the other thing you can do is there are plate colors. So if it has a cheesecake with the red plate, but then also on the other plate, the other red plate, there's like a chocolate cake or something like that, they will still combo together because the plate color is the same. But the cakes and plates, one of those 2s have to match. So one of those 2s have to match for you to get the combo. So if you're just going around eating everything, eventually you're going to kill your combo. Now, most of the time being a kid's game, this stuff is lined up in a way that like you're going to get the combo, almost the full combo every time. But it does take some time for you to sit there and think about what you're doing, and especially when you get to the later levels, there's some times where you have to go and like, you'll be presented with a bunch of food items in front of you, and you got to kind of figure out what order you're going to eat that food in kind of thing. And then also there's sometimes where you might have to like kind of go back and go to a different area and go eat food there that you passed by earlier because you could have comboed it. And there's also like these kind of like reset foods where like the plates flash colors, and when they're a flashing color plate, basically it's like a general like free-for-all of like, this will combo with anything, in and out of it. So you can combo into it, you can also combo out of it. So if you do end up in a situation where you collected, you know, some things in the wrong way, it'll actually give you the opportunity to kind of like save yourself and get back to comboing the proper order again. So why this works really is I think it really asks the player to not only optimize their time and movement, but also optimize their route through a level. So it can be a really fun experience, like trying to figure out what the best like ways to move around a level is with like the different side dashes and tackles and things like that. And then also like making sure, you know, you get all the right food in the right order. And with the movement itself particularly, like the dashes and side tackles are fairly stiff. So they're not like great for every situation. You're not gonna be spamming them all the time. You also are gonna need that like precise movement in between as well. So it's like a really nice balance of knowing when to use precise movement, when to use these kind of larger, faster motions that you can't really control as well. And things like that. And at the end of the level, when you get your score, they reward you with a giant pile of pancakes. And if you eat enough pancakes, Cinnamoroll does this like little break dance, which is super, super cute. I love it. In general, the game has like a really super cute presentation. There's cutscenes and stuff. I don't know any like Japanese, and honestly, I don't know enough Japanese to read this, and the text moves on its own, so even if I could sit there and try to read it, it would be going way too fast for where my baby level of Japanese is right now. But it does have like these really cute little cutscenes, and I'd expect there's probably not that much going on. It seems like something to do with Cinnamoroll having a dream or something, so I don't expect that the depth is quite there. But, I could be wrong about that. I don't want to, like, say that it's just a kid's story just because I haven't, like, actually consumed the story per se. But there's cute little cutscenes and things like that. But the bigger problem that you can come up in this game for not being able to read Japanese is that halfway through the game there's, like, a quiz mini game. And it will ask you questions about, I think it's asking, like, who are certain characters or what certain items are. So like I can read the word like chocolate, and then so like 3 food items will appear, and then like 2 of them will be chocolate, and I'm pretty sure I want to get like the chocolate cake or something like that, the chocolate whatever, or almond crisp thing or something like that. So you have to like choose between these different items, and like thankfully because I can read a baby amount of Japanese, it kind of guided me through like maybe half the questions, but the other half I could not figure out if it's a guess. But usually there's only like 2 or 3 choices, and if you can recognize the characters as well, the answers all seem to be locked basically. So if you can basically tell like, oh, this is the question they're asking me, even if you can't read the question, like, I know I got this wrong last time, let me swap it over kind of thing. There are some other mini games throughout the game as well. There's like these little pinball mini games and things like that, and Tetris kind of mini games, and like an Arkanoid kind of thing. And they're not particularly good, but they're just kind of like fun little distractions, and I kind of consider them that. You can go like play them in like a mini game corner, but it's like you have to play through like multiple levels of it, and usually they're just like so slow and so like uneventful that I think they're just kind of boring. So I think they're best played throughout the main game and just like as fun attractions rather than like taking any of them super seriously. In general, other than the fact that like I think this game probably would be a decent speedrunning game if you wanted to try to speedrun a short video game, because I think you can really optimize the movement in this game in ways that would be really fun in a speedrun. I say not as a speedrunner, but somebody who spent many years watching speedruns, so I don't want to say for certain on that. I think it's like a really cool game in that regard. But the cute presentation I think kind of wraps everything up really nicely, and the game's pretty short too. I think I beat it in like 40 minutes and got the highest score on all the levels. So I got little trophies or like I think they're little crowns that appear on top if you get the high score. So I got crowns on every single level kind of thing. And there's also like a bonus level you get at the end. That's not a hard level per se, but it definitely asks you to utilize the things you learned up until that point to a more significant degree if you want to actually complete it with a good score kind of thing. So but yeah, I like Big Fluffy Adventure, and like I think if you are like just sitting there looking at some cheap GBA games or like importing games that just need to throw some things into the box to make it like more worthwhile, I really can't recommend it enough. I think it's a great game. Or if you just want to load it up on an emulator or something like that too, it's like a fun 40-minute adventure. Highly recommended by me.